All right, folks, welcome back to episode 37 of Kings of Opinion. It's the post Christmas show. Right now, I just got actually for the first time ever, Big Ern over here coming from the producer chair and jumping up into Wander's spot because Wander is sick and he's out of commission for this week.
Yeah, so I got to bite the bullet.
I'm glad you did. I think you look good right now on this camera. I'm not going to lie to you. So, I mean, we're just going to jump right into the show. A lot of stuff happened over the week, right before Christmas, and there were a lot of disappointed people, a lot of happy people, I'm sure. But before we get to all the sports talk, my rant for the week will be the speed/red light cameras. If this doesn't stop, it's absolutely getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I don't get hit by the same thing usually twice. I mean, sometimes I do because I border on that 35 to 36 a lot of times. And if I don't hit the brake just quite quick enough, it'll catch me. But they seem to be going up everywhere. And I don't understand how this city doesn't have money. Or they have money, they're hiding it. Because if I'm getting hit for around $700 to $800 a year on these cameras, everyone else has got to be coming close to that too.
Yeah, if not worse.
Right. And Nassau is even crazier. At least the city's like, oh, here's $50 here, $50 there. You could do that like 4 or 5 times with Nassau because they're like $150.
Yeah. Well, I guess they need the money to help pay for the migrants.
Or help to pay for the construction that's all over the place. Like, are these roads really that bad that you need construction on every major highway just to make things worse?
Well, the problem is, though, the roads that need the work the most, they don't do anything with.
You know what it is? I think those roads are so bad that they'd have to shut it down in order to fix it, or like make a super highway over it and then shut that down, and that would cost probably like billions and billions of dollars. So they don't even attempt it. They'll just like the BQE and parts of the belt, they'll just sacrifice that. Be like, we're not going to do anything with that. But they must get, I don't know, like close to like $1 billion a year with these cameras, right?
If not more.
Right. And they're crying poverty. They can't pay nobody. They can't do this. They can't do that. They're asking for handouts like they're poor.
It's almost to the point where you have to use your Google Maps to drive anywhere you go because you'll at least get the notifications about the red light cameras, and I think they do it for the speed cameras too now.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, does Google Maps do that?
I don't know.
I think that's a Waze thing. I think.
Oh yeah, because that's more of a user interface.
Yeah, and I hate Waze because the few times I've used it, I've gotten like super lost on it, and they always try to make you save like 30 seconds here, 10 seconds here, like turn here, turn there, like you're going like all over the place to save like a minute, and I hate it, so I don't use it. But Google. I use Google from time to time, like to get me certain.
It might be worth to use Waze just to have it on, not to use it for directions, but just to let it speak to you when something is coming up.
Yeah, you know what? That's not a bad idea, I guess. But would it overtake the Google if I'm using the Google, or if I use the same way home? I just use the Waze just to see what's up. But,
right, because you're not using it for the directions anyways.
Right, but the problem is most of the areas I go it's the same route, so I don't have a problem with that. It's those times where you're in a different part of the neighborhood or a different neighborhood for whatever reason, you're going to a different store, whatever it is. That's where you get clipped because they just sneak up on you. And then once you get clipped, then you're like, okay, check. I got one on 73rd Ave and like 217th Street. I know it's there now.
Or just to the point where you have to assume that there's one on every damn street you're on. Now, so.
Right, but if you do that, you'll never get anywhere. Never. It'll take you an hour and a half to get everywhere. Like it does when it's pouring rain out and everyone's driving 5 miles an hour.
Exactly.
I know, I hate those damn cameras. They suck. But all right. Anyway, that's it for that. We got that out of the way. Now we're gonna go into some happier things. Not really for me, but maybe for the Dodgers. Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers for 12 years. $325 million. Now, there was said that the Yankees offered $300 million. I don't remember if they had a year's attachment, maybe 10 years. I'm not really sure. But for $25 more million, they probably could have had him. But it looks like the whole time Yamamoto's going to the Dodgers anyway, because it looked like they were just pinning the other New York teams against each other. and to get the
Yeah,
Dodgers to give him more money.
exactly.
But I don't think he had really any intention of coming to New York unless he wanted to go to the Yankees, but they didn't match the Dodgers and said, you know what, I'll just go to East Coast. It's closer.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think they just, as many times in the past years, right? Just
Mhm.
using the Yankees and Mets to drive up the price.
Especially the Mets, because the Mets were the ones that offered 325. So from what we were hearing, they were the first three offer at 325.
And
And
apparently the Yankees weren't willing to pay that signing bonus either.
well, what's he got a signing bonus on top of it?
Yeah,
I didn't know he got a
which
signing
is the
bonus.
other fugaziness, right? They had the first huge deferment with Otani, and now all of a sudden they're doing like football and giving out signing bonuses all of a sudden in baseball. You got a $50 million signing bonus.
So is that included in the 325?
I would assume so.
Okay.
Yes.
So the overall contract is 325, but he got 50 up front.
Right.
I don't think many people accept. I don't remember the last person that got a signing bonus for
I,
baseball.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't know that. But either which way, Dodgers fans are happy. Met fans not so much. And the Mets haven't really been doing much on the market anyway. They've been making a bunch of small deals that I won't really get into right now. I'll wait more towards the February time when pitchers and catches report to get into all the additions and subtractions of the New York teams. But as a Yankee fan, I was disappointed at first, but now I stand by my statement I made. I think like once we got Soto, I'd rather give up Yamamoto because he's unproven, and like if you were, it's almost a lose lose for Cashman. You get him for that much amount of money, he comes to New York and he sucks. They're gonna hate you. He doesn't get him, they're gonna hate you for not getting him anyway. But yet he hasn't pitched one pitch in the major leagues, right?
Yeah.
So I'd rather use that money for Soto, go all in on Soto, and if you got to go up against the Mets for Soto, like everyone says they might do next year, then just bite the bullet and give Soto more money, especially if he does well this year. Like I think it works well for both Soto and the Yankees, depending on what kind of year he makes. He does. So
And there's still a couple of decent free agent pitchers out there that you can maybe get two of them for the same price it was going to cost you for Yamamoto.
we'll see. That's what I was thinking. You could go the uh, Montgomery route now that you saw that he pitched in the playoffs really well. So now, is he a top three starter for the Yankees rotation? Possibly, but I don't think that really matters in the regular season. You want to know how he pitches in the playoffs. And last year he was pretty much lights out, right? So
Yeah.
that's a plus, right? And he's kind of has that Andy Pettit feel where he was shut down in the playoffs. Good regular season. He pitches a lot of innings. He doesn't really get hurt, knock on wood.
You know he's got no problem pitching in New York.
Correct. So all positives, right? So if you were to sign somebody, you'd go probably that route first because all that stuff checks all the right boxes, right?
And what's he going to get? He's going to probably get somewhere between 15 and 20 million a year.
Yeah, I would say, and that's not crazy for a starting pitcher.
And it's only going to be probably like a 4 or 5 year deal, anyways. I don't think it'll be much more than that.
No. For him, that would be great. 4 or 5 years. I think you're right on the money with that. 15 to 20 million, right on the money with that too. He'd be happy. They'd be happy as long as, like I said, he stays healthy. He'd be fine. However, what I would explore is you're kind of going all in on 2024. You don't even know what's going to happen in 2025 yet. You're not really concerned. Right now, you're all in. And not for nothing, the Dodgers are probably the new evil empire right now because they're just stacking bodies. And I'll be honest, until they prove it up otherwise, I still think they're going to lose in the playoffs because that's all they've done. They've been just like the Yankees, besides the Fugazi season of 2020.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like Glass now has been Cy Young for the last 2 years, and then you got Kershaw, who's obviously on the decline. Shohei's not pitching, so
right. And with them, it was never really hitting all year. They're going to win their 100 games or thereabouts. They're playing the playoffs, guys. Teams coming hot like they always do in baseball. Win the series and keep it moving, going to the next series. And the Dodgers are on the wrong end most of the time. But I would like to see the Yankees, since they're all in, right, for this year, go after a Shane Bieber or a Corbin Burns. Both those guys are pretty much on the trade block because they only have one more year left. So do with them what you're doing with Soto. Pick one of them that you like and go trade. For whatever reason, the Yankees have a ton of average to good talent in the minor leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought a lot of them up last year. You could always replenish your minor leagues. You could always trade guys that aren't fitting here for better minor league depth every year. And like we always say, you never know what these guys are going to do, right? So I would go after something like that. Go all in. Have a nice 1-2 punch. Hopefully, Rodon will fix whatever he has to fix this year. He won't be hurt all year. Same thing with Nestor Cortez.
Right.
And then you have Clark Schmidt, and that's it.
And what about Montas?
They would have to sign him back because he's a free agent.
Right.
So maybe you give him some kind of like, 1 year,
Yeah.
$5 million deal with incentives if he pitches well to make it like, I don't even care if it's 12 million. Like if he pitches that well, then he earns the 12 million. Like he was that bad with the Yankees the last 2 years.
And then real quickly, a couple of moves like that, and they're gonna have they could have a potentially very solid starting five.
Agreed. If not one of the best at the very least, so you could change the entire forecast for the Yankees real quick with a couple smooth, quick moves. And even if you wanted to, you make a trade. And if you still want to bring in Jordan Montgomery because he's on the cheaper side and it's maybe he gives you a discount because a lot of people say, oh, he got traded. He's not going to want to come back here. I don't see Montgomery as that kind of guy, even though he did get traded.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I see him as like a regular dude, like, whatever. It was business. I get it. And if you really like New York, there's a deal to be made there. Let's put it that way.
Right.
If not, I'm sure he's going to be on the phones, cashing with these guys. You do something like that, now you have depth also at starting pitching because you could throw Clark Schmidt right back in the bullpen. He was good there, and you rock out with those guys. And now they might have the best starting five in baseball, which is good because they always say pitching wins you the World Series.
Right.
Pitching outlasts good hitting, except for last year it was an outlier with the Rangers because they had such a good.
And that's why I think people getting all up in arms that the Yankees aren't making moves, but there's still so many good viable options out there that they didn't need to rush into anything.
No.
And that's what the thing was with Yamamoto too. They probably knew, that most likely they were just getting used to drive up the price. And they figured if we get lucky and we get them, we get them. If not, then no big deal.
Well, listen, they took their shot. I'm not even mad at them. $300 million is more than enough for a pitcher that's untested. Like, if you told me, if we fast forward and we're sitting here talking in July, and the guy has like a couple wins and his ERA is 3 or 4, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Especially now in the National League, there's no pitcher hitting anymore. So like, normally guys like that would go to the National League, and me and Steve always argue about this for years. I always said like it's easier to pitch in the National League than the American League because the American League has the DH, so you got that one extra hitter that can actually hit, as opposed to the National League where you got the catcher that can't hit and then the pitcher, and then you go back to the top of the lineup. So you almost have 2 dead spots in your lineup where if you're in trouble and that comes up and you don't make a move for your pitcher because he's doing good, whatever happened,
right.
You could get out of that, no big deal.
Right.
Where the American League, you might have 1 dead spot, if 0, because back when the Yankees were good, you had like a Jorge Posada. That lineup was stacked.
Right.
You're having a tough time,
Right.
right? So now it's not so much. So you might see. I think it's this is like the 2nd year now or 3rd year. I think it's the 3rd year now with the DH in the National League. So you're going to start to see guys in that spot, and it's going to be more turnover, more runs once they're getting used to that being a thing in the National League. But yeah, there's no other crazy news, I don't think, for baseball.
No.
All right, well, let's get right into Week 16 of the NFL. So before we start, we're going to call it quits on my fantasy football season. My guys did a great job this past week. Besides Deontay Johnson and James Cook. James Cook really let me down because he was a must start this week against whoever the hell they were playing. I don't even remember. The Chargers, that has like no direction. And, he should have ran all over them. He should have had another monster game like the week before. And he didn't. And I needed him to because then it would have been a game. I was going up against, the second best team in the league. And she put up 176 points and I put up 150. And we both went over projection, so I can't even be mad because that means most of my guys did good.
Yeah.
It was just those 2 spots. Like those guys, I needed, putting up 5 points in a playoff week is no good. Right. And then when you go up against Christian McCaffrey and Breece Hall, who Breece Hall just decided to wake up against the Washington Commanders, he had 43 points. So you had to come not close, but you had to put up numbers to catch up with that guy alone. And then I needed the 49ers to lose badly to the Ravens. They did. She had Brock Purdy going, and he really did nothing. He had 6 points, which is awesome. And she had the San Francisco kicker, 5 points. Great. But then she had Kittle and CMC, and it seemed like all Brock Purdy's yards went to those two guys, and then CMC does what he does. He just finds the end zone, and I lost by 26. It was a lot closer than that, but than the score, but it's over. So
Yeah, it wasn't a good fantasy year for us.
no, and what makes it worse is Paulie sneaks out a win with Brandon Ayuk, so he's back in the finals for like a third year in a row in this league, and he basically did what she did. She picked all 49ers. He picked all Cowboys. So I guess we're going to find out which team is going to make them win next week for the championship.
And I guess we'll see a new trend starting next year too. Everybody's going to be rushing for those teams.
I'm not doing it. I never like to shoot. Only stacks I ever do is a quarterback with a running back, and it has to be like a passing a pass catching back, or a quarterback with a wide receiver. I don't go any further like tight end, because that you have 1 or 2, 3 bad games and you're done pretty much for the season.
Yeah.
Like they've gotten lucky that they picked the 2 teams that most weeks are going to kill the opposing players, and whatever. What are you going to do? But that will. I mean, I guess we could stick with the game. Did you watch that game at all on Monday
No,
night?
I didn't.
You were out cold after Christmas,
I was.
huh? Yeah, you went home. I don't blame you. I shut it off after halftime. I looked at the score of my team. I'm like, we're ready to lose it by 3. I'm like, this is it. I wanted watching a movie and passing out myself. But the first half was kind of funny. Like, he had 3 interceptions, Purdy, in the first half.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw that the next morning.
Yeah, he wound up having 4 overall, I think. He might have had 4 in the first half. I don't even remember. But then he supposedly got hurt, which I don't think was a real thing. Like, I think they were just trying to figure out a way to get him out of the game and give them still a chance to win, which their backup is Sam Darnold. So I don't, you probably could put CMC at quarterback and it would have been better.
So did Darnold finish the game?
I believe so. Like I said, I stopped watching.
Oh, wow.
After the half, I might have flipped to it like once or twice, but I really didn't watch. I saw Darnold and I'm like, oh, they gave up. And that was that. But, I think it was like 33-19 or something like that was the final score.
Only thing that tied me to that game was did you see any of the posts the next day with the guy that supposedly had that 14-leg parlay for $5 and the last leg was McCaffrey. CMC getting a touchdown, and it paid out like
$498,000 and some change, folks. Just so we're clear, I don't know how you do. And if you look at it, because one of my friends at work sent it to me, I think the next day, and I'm looking at it, and all the people that were on it are like guys that could score touchdowns. It wasn't like, let me pick like a third wide receiver on some bum team to get it. They were all guys that get touchdowns, and God bless him, man, that he put in something like that for $5. I'll tell you what, I might try that this week. Pick up a bunch of guys to score touchdowns and then see what happens. I don't know if I could do 14 though. Like that
was nuts.
That's like winning the lottery.
Yeah, it was. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was like plus 2 million or something.
Yeah, it was something crazy. If we weren't filming on my phone, I have it, and I would take a look at it. But yeah, something like that is absurd to me. But kudos to him. I hope that happens to us one of these days.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if you think about it, if you throw $1 on that, you're winning 100,000.
Right.
Pretty much. Like you might win like 98 or something like that. That's still bananas for $1.
Right.
Like that's better odds than going and playing like Take 5 or whatever, Mega Millions or any of this stuff. Like and hitting 5 numbers and winning $1 million.
More money and definitely a lot better odds.
I would think so, right? But that guy's got, I want to take a look at that and study that for this week and see if I could just get lucky with some of these matchups and see if we could pick some guys to score touchdowns. Because that would be bananas. I'll go 10 deep. I'll give 10 guys, yeah. It's almost like the lottery. Hey, you never know. So this being a holiday weekend, it was all football Sunday, Monday, right? So Christmas was taken over. Sorry, NBA. Nobody pretty much watched the NBA on Monday. The NFL said, you know what? We don't get Christmas every year on a Monday. We're going to take over this Monday. And you could literally, everyone that was talking about it was like, did you see the football? No one said, yo, did you see that basketball game?
Yeah, and as well as they did, because they always do well, I guess, because they usually do have the day, like you said. But football, what was it? I think it was like 6 point something million for the NBA and like 22.5 million for the football.
Yeah, and that's probably like even like the Raider Kansas City game. Like, I mean, that was a good game. Don't get me wrong. Like, I watched a lot of that game, and um, the Raiders put up a good show. They won, so you can't. What are you gonna say? Like, Kansas City isn't the same as they were last year.
No,
And maybe they
no.
get it together the next 2 weeks before the playoffs start. But at 9-6,
And there's a few teams, right, that have been looking pretty bad this last few weeks, and you just only, I guess, hoping that that's what they're doing, kind of like what Buffalo's been doing the last few weeks, right? Turning it on late, maybe saving it for the end of the season. I don't know.
yeah. See, like Buffalo's
Cowboys
weird.
being one of them.
Yeah, well, like let's talk about the Cowboys, right? So the Cowboys have a bit of a rough stretch recently. Like they lost the last, was it 2 games? But like they've looked bad in the last three or something like
Yeah,
that. So it, the Cowboys need to get it together. I forget who they're playing this week. They're playing the Lions at home.
yeah,
Aren't they 7-0 at home though?
yes,
So that's good for them, but also scary, right? Because they're trending in the wrong direction. They're playing at home. If they're ever going to lose a home game, you'd think it'd be now, right?
right. But if you ever need them to keep that stretch going, it's now too.
Correct. Well, they have to because they almost there's the division on the line because Philly is only a game up on them.
Yeah, which makes it all the more frustrating because if they did halfway decent these last three games, then they'd probably be in control, of the division all on their own. But with the way Philly's been playing, but of course that went to shit.
And it's almost like the way the Cowboys lost too, right? They were winning most of the game, and it came down to the very end again. And like it was the tale of two tapes, right? Cowboys aren't good on the road. Miami isn't good against anyone over 500.
Right.
And they snuck out that win. And neither team, it's not
And
that Dak played bad. He didn't play
it's just that
terrible.
their offenses, for whatever reason, just like not even half as good as when they're at home. I don't know what it is
If there was ever ultimate home field advantage, and that it's with Dallas
this year. Yeah.
this year. And I feel bad for them too because they probably won't get a home game. Like they would need some kind of an upset.
That's the problem.
So basically means like, and then, we talk about this and we make fun of some of our Dallas Cowboy fans where, Dak for MVP, we shoot it down and like they're not going to get out of the first round. And the way it's setting up right now, like they're either going to play like Atlanta or the Bucs, but they're going to be on the road. And like they're probably light years better than both those teams.
Right.
But on the road, can you see them losing in a playoff game?
Right.
Maybe not to
Which is why they need to pretty much win out because they need to at least guarantee if they're going to be on the road, they're going to get one of those favorable matchups in either Atlanta or Tampa Bay or whatever you want to be. But you don't want them to lose and then slip down a couple of spots and then have to
play a better team,
right?
Like play the Lions at home, or
Mm-hmm.
because I know the the Lions were on also a down slope too a couple games ago, but they started to pick it back up again because they've been playing at home, playing much better, and also been pretty much riding, like the Sun God and the Jamar Gibbs show because they've been doing both my fantasy guys, by the way, which did great the last couple of weeks. So thank you for that, guys. But they've been doing good, and Goff's been like managing the game a lot better, not having so many like interceptions, fumbles, and all that stuff. So they've been doing good, and now they have a matchup because they're 11-4 too. So with I think what are the 49ers now? They're
49ers should be 12-3.
are they? No, they're 11-4 too. So the number one spot is all up for grabs right now. You have the 49ers 11-4. You have the Eagles 11-4. The Cowboys 10-5, and the Lions are 11-4. So if you went out and any one of those teams lose, the Lions could have the number one seed and get a bye, which would be crazy, right?
Yeah.
And they're like the feel good story of the football. If I feel
Oh,
like
for sure, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because last year I think they just missed the playoffs last year. Yeah, they just missed the playoffs last year, and now they came in hungry. They had a little bit of a slip for a couple games. Now they're back, doing well, and I'd like to see them. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't mind seeing them have the first bye because like everyone's like San Francisco, Dallas, and Philly, and it's been those three teams for the most part all year. They just started talking about the Lions recently. We might be the first ones talking about them trying to get the bye right now.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that. No one mentioned them about getting the bye. Maybe they have a tough schedule the next couple of weeks. I don't know. Besides the Cowboys, I don't know who else they're playing. Right?
And if anybody's due, they're due, right?
Right. And they have the pieces. Like their defense is a little suspect. So like this week is going to be tough for them with Dallas because Dallas has a really good defense and they're at home. I don't know how that's going to go, right? But like if they sneak out that win or even come close,
Yeah.
who knows? Like this is a big test for the Lions this week coming up with the Cowboys.
I mean, Vegas is saying that it's going to be all Cowboys, right? With the line being, what is it? What did we
Plus
say?
6.
6. They're giving 6. So
Yep.
they're telling us that it should be a pretty good Cowboy victory. So we'll see.
I mean, they basically got to win by 7, right? They got to win by a touchdown.
Yep.
So I guess we'll wind up seeing what goes on with that. And I mean, what do you think about the Browns? I don't know if you were watching them on Sunday. I mean, we were at your house, so we didn't watch them on Sunday.
Right.
But I saw some of the highlights, and the Browns are like almost like I hate to say it because the Browns are just always terrible, but they're like the anti-Jets. They went through a quarterback carousel this whole year too. They've played 3 or 4 different quarterbacks.
And now they're getting lights out play from a guy that wanted to go to the Jets, and the Jets said no to.
Right. And Joe Flacco, like the living statue. And it almost makes me wonder, like, why do the Jets coaching staff, besides maybe the defensive head coach, like the defensive coordinator, and even he sucks at times because you can't call your defense like great if teams are putting up 20-something points, 30-something points.
Yeah.
Like for the 49ers, for the most part, they're 11-4. I would say 12, 13 out of those 15 games is low scoring. It's under 20 points, and they lose by a last-minute field goal. Then you could say you have a fantastic defense, right? And you might give up 1 or 2 games where like your defense doesn't show up for whatever reason, like Baltimore. Like you're playing another really great team. They had a great coach. They schemed for it. All right, tip the hat. You move on to the next week, right? But it's like the Browns just said, "Hey, yo, Joe, get in there. These guys are just going to run around out there. Just hit the open guy, bro. Like, we're not even going to call plays. Just wing it." Where, like, last year, there's a reason why the Jets didn't want Flacco. We saw him play. He was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. But that's why I think it lands on the coaches. Like, maybe they don't know how to call plays for the type of quarterbacks they have, right? Because you're seeing this with Flacco now.
Possible.
It's
possible.
It's even a year later. He literally came off his couch like the Giants pew, and he's like, "Hey, all right," puts on the pads, like all right, sits in the quarterback meeting, and I can almost guarantee they're like, "Listen, Joe, we saw some film. Listen, just go back there and sling it." All right.
And listen, I mean, you keep talking about how changing the playbook for the quarterback that you have with the Jets and everything. Joe Flacco's skill set is nothing like Deshaun Watson, and he's managing just fine.
He's the exact opposite, right?
Right.
So it's almost like that coach adjusted for Flacco and said, "Listen, this is what we're going to do."
Or Flacco is just able to cope and deal and get by.
But he couldn't do it with the Jets. Like he did not. Like he's been like they're on a win streak of probably like 4 games right now, all under Joe Flacco. I think they might have lost 1 game. I'm not even sure. I wish we had someone there, but you're here today, so I appreciate it. So, but they've had to win a bunch of games with Flacco just throwing for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. I think he had 1 bad game, but he still threw for multiple touchdowns. So it's wild that he could do that with the Browns, right?
Yeah.
And the Browns offense isn't better than the Jets. The skill position players, like maybe besides the tight end.
Amari Cooper's, getting up there in age, and he's still having a fantastic season with him.
He just put up 256 yards receiving
Yeah.
and like 2 touchdowns. He had a monster game. But that's what I mean. I feel like he's just trusting his wide receivers. Like if he was on the Jets, why couldn't you do that with Garrett Wilson last year? Just throw the ball at him.
Yeah.
You know, because Garrett Wilson's young, spry, he could catch, he could run, and you have Brees Hall. Like they don't even have Nick Chubb on the team. He's out for the year, and they have like I don't want to say bum running backs, but they have like Kareem Hunt and Ford, and they haven't been doing much.
Yeah. And it looks like they're another team though that's very good at home, not so great on the road. And their defense, as good as we talk about their defense, their point differential is not that much. They've given up a decent amount of points.
Yeah, maybe they get blown out on losses.
And it could just be like you said, these last few weeks with Flacco, they're scoring a lot more points than they had been scoring.
Right.
So they're just starting to make up the difference.
Right. So they won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
I don't know if Joe Flacco played more than 3. I'm assuming he has. But either which way, he's doing great. It just calls into question what really the Jets coaches do over there. Like, do they really prep their quarterbacks? You know, because I don't know. It makes no sense.
They were just so all in on Aaron Rodgers and just had no contingency plan if something happened.
But even still, after like a week or two, you gotta like switch it up. Like the plays that work for Aaron, and I get it. One of the things about Aaron Rodgers is he would have taken off a lot of pressure from Nathaniel Hackett and Coach Saleh because he wouldn't have to micromanage Rodgers. Like Rodgers goes in there, he's audibling, he's telling guys to do this, do that. He knows exactly where his guys are going to be. He's going to hit the open man like 9 times out of 10. And the offense is just going to run itself, whether they do good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And Saleh's just going to focus on the defense with his defensive coordinator. And that's pretty much it. And he has to make a couple of decisions during the game. Rodgers is even going to know like the 2-minute drill. Like he's not going to have to be like, okay, do I call a timeout?
Right.
Like Rodgers is going to be like, all right, timeout.
Right.
We're fucked up. Or, you know, hurry up. Let's go. Let's get to the line. Spike. Like he's going to know all that. So it took a lot of pressure off them. But then once he got hurt and you win that game against Buffalo, that whole next week should have been like, okay, this is all for Rodgers. It's not going to work for Wilson. We saw it the last 2 years. Let's dummy it down or let's get some plays or let's figure something out. And if it didn't work week 2, you try something week 3. Then you try something week 4. Then you keep mixing it up. It just seemed like they did the same thing for 6 to 7 weeks. Run the ball, pass the ball, incomplete, whatever. Anyway, they suck. They almost lost the game. Like they're winning 27-7 in like the fourth quarter, and
against a horrible team,
the Commanders, and they come all the way back, and they're losing in the last couple of minutes. And
with their backup quarterback, by the way.
Yeah, and I don't even know what to say. Like, thankfully the Jets won, but I almost felt like, you know what, you should have just lost. You know, no one's going anywhere anyway. Why do we need that win? Oh, okay, we're 6-9. Great. I mean, they're playing. Who are they playing this week? The Browns tomorrow night. Like, really? Like, do we have any faith that they're going to win? I just hope they keep it close so I win my pick. Like, stay within 7 points and we're good. Like, the Browns shouldn't be that much better than you. Like, you know what I mean? They're basically you just in a different division with better quarterback play.
Joe Flacco going to have it out for them tomorrow night?
You can only imagine, right? Like, it's either going to be really good for him or really bad. Like, I don't see, like, 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. You know, it's either going to be like 300 yards plus, 3+ touchdowns, or the opposite, like 150 yards passing, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. You know, and the Jets I think they're on the road, right? I think they're on the road.
They are,
but either which way, it doesn't matter.
On the road, yes.
Yeah, either which way doesn't matter because they're not favored at all, nor should they be. But, okay, let's say by a miracle you beat the Browns. Okay, now you're 7-9. You're still not going to the playoffs. Then you play the Patriots. Oh, great. It's probably Bill Belichick's last game as a Patriot. You beat them. Okay, 8-9. So they're 1 game better than last year without Aaron Rodgers. So
and the 15th pick in the first round.
Yeah, so you're going to get nobody good unless you go for another wide receiver because you'll get a good skill position player on the offense. But you need offensive linemen. You need a stud. Like, go to Notre Dame and just pick, like, their entire offensive line. Those guys always, like, throw out, like, animals on the offensive line. Just for the first 3 rounds. Go to Notre Dame like, yeah, we're picking all 3 of your guys. Whoever's remaining, I'm taking them all. You know? But they're not going to be able to do that because they're going to have some booty pick. Anyway, they suck. I don't even want to talk about it.
But on the brighter side, they could lose both games.
I hope they do. But even still, 6-11, whatever it is, they're still not even going to be in the top 10, I don't think.
I'm sure they'd be in the top 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, maybe 6. Yeah, so they'll be in the top 10. They'll be somewhere in 7, 8, 9, somewhere around there, depending on how other teams fall. But all right, that's it. Let's go to our picks. You wanna start us off with how our records are for last week?
Sure.
Did I go 0-4 again?
No, you didn't.
Thank God. Whew.
Ryan goes 2-2. Ernie goes 2-2. And the big winner for the week is the Wanderer, who went 3-1.
Wow.
And getting a win betting against his Cowboys again.
Wow. See, that's what happens. Which one did I lose? Oh, I lost the Bengals, huh? They got rocked. And the Jets, of course. Yeah, of course. The Jets were, what, -3?
Yeah.
Oh, we won by 2. Oh, my God. They killed me again.
Unreal.
Unbelievable.
And he just squeaked one out with the Lions, too, right? Because the Lions won by...
The Lions. They won 30-24.
Oh, okay. No. So I was thinking about a different game.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, getting to our season totals. I am still in the lead at 31-28.
Oof.
Wanderer comes in at second with 28-31. And Pugs is trailing the pack at 26-33.
Jesus.
A healthy 7 games under 500.
I'm like Tiki Barber on The Fan. He's terrible at it, too. But what's funny is I was once 2 or 3 games over 500.
Yeah.
I had 2 bad weeks of 0-4s, and that's how you go back to the cellar, folks.
Yes, that's it.
You don't want to do
that's
that.
it.
So I guess the real thing is don't follow my picks.
Yeah.
Follow, at the very least, Ernie's. At least he might make you some money. So with that being said, we're going to start off with the Wanderer since he's not here. He's taking the Dolphins +3.5 over the Ravens. The Rams -4.5 against the Giants. The Bills -13 against the Pats. That's going to be probably his only loss, in my opinion, so far.
Well, I hope not, because I'm taking the Bills too.
That'd be good for me. And then the Lions +6 against the Cowboys. And then I guess I'll just ring it. So I like the Bucks this week against the Saints. The Bucks are hot right now. Baker Mayfield, and we forgot to talk about this too. He's been bananas for the Bucks the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
He's slinging touchdowns everywhere, throwing for 300 yards, almost 400 yards, I think, last week. So I like the Bucks at -2.5 against the Saints. I think they could at least win by a field goal. I also have the Lions +6 against the boys. I hope that's a big win for me. Let's hope the Lions at least keep it close, if not win. Like I said, they're like my feel-good story of the year, so I hope they keep rocking and they try to win the first round bye. Then I got the Jags at -6.5 against the Panthers. The Panthers are one of the bottom dwellers of the league. Jaguars are fighting for their division. They should be coming in ready to play and just demolish the Panthers. So yeah, that's why I'm going with the Jags. And then last but not least, my Jets against the Browns, which is almost always a loss for me. They're getting 7.5 points. If they can't keep it close tomorrow, I don't know what is. But I'll tell you this. If the Jets somehow can stay within that margin or win, I might have a good weekend this weekend. Maybe I could bring a little 4-0 luck and then play catch up a little bit.
Yeah, right? Well, especially considering I'm going to start my week off with where you just ended, but I'm going with the Browns, given the 7.5 at home, where we said they're 7-1, and I hope Joe Flacco goes bananas.
Bananas.
My second pick, I'm going to go with the Ravens at home against the Dolphins. Only giving 3.5, which is surprising, considering the Cowboy line. But the Ravens, what else is there to say
The
about the
Ravens are
Ravens?
home?
Yeah,
Wow.
and they're only given 3.5,
That's
which
wild.
is, you know, I guess they're putting a lot of stock into this Dolphins win against the Cowboys, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either.
With my third pick, I'm gonna, like I said, match up with Wanderer, and I'm gonna go with the Bills over the Patriots. I think the Patriots is just, I don't want to say giving up, but the Bills have been hot. The Bills are at home, and let's see what happens. I think they're really trying to make a push and
I agree.
looking like they might be a little dangerous come the postseason.
Yeah, if they make it into the playoffs, which they just this past week with their win got into the playoffs. I think they're the 7th seed. They might even be the 6th, but it really doesn't matter. They're in the playoffs. They are dangerous
Yeah,
to play in the playoffs right now. They're super hot. However, the Patriots are pesky. Like Bill Belichick will not let these guys give up at the very least on defense. Their
yeah,
offense is obviously always going to be sketchy, but if you look back, the Bills wind up beating the Patriots, but it was only by a couple points.
yeah. But the Bills have been hot as can be,
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Listen, I'm not
and,
telling you you're wrong. I'm just
and
saying.
and I think they're that one of those few teams that it doesn't matter where they play, home or away.
Yeah,
Their
I agree.
fans travel really well, so
Bills
yeah,
Mafia.
we'll see what happens. And then with my last pick, as usual, I'm going with the Cowboys, giving 6 against the Lions. They're at home. Hopefully, they keep that winless streak, that undefeated streak at home going, and finish the season strong because the way they've been playing is not looking good. So that's our picks for the week.
All right. Well, I wish you much luck. I hope you lose them all though, and I could catch up, make some ground up, or pick some ground up on you. And right now, I've been waiting all week to talk to you about this, and I'm actually glad I have you on the show for this one. It's so great. So we're going to talk about some TV shows now, and I'm going to just jump right into it. Let's talk about Blue Mountain State. I've been begging you to watch this for about 2 weeks now. You finally remembered to watch it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it without giving too much away to the audience, but it's an old show, so if you haven't seen it yet,
Old show, definitely, quick, again, 22-minute episodes, and just funny as shit. Stupid, funny comedy, and brings you back to your college days, and
I wish those were my college days.
exactly, exactly. Wishing that those were the days that we had in
Right.
college.
And especially if you went away to college, I'm sure you experienced some of this show in one way or another. I unfortunately did not get to go away. However, I got to experience some of that through one of my best friends, Mike, who did go away, and I was there like every other weekend. So to me, that show it's almost spot on. I played sports a little bit in college and in high school, but like not like that where you lived in like
Right.
not a frat house, but like
your own house
with your football mates or baseball mates or whatever sport you played, and there's just like party after party and shenanigans like throughout the whole episode, and it's an hilarious show.
And then our boy Reacher, who I don't know his real name,
Alan Hitchinson or something like that,
is just absolutely hysterical and great in the show. I from watching Reacher first and seeing what his acting was like. It's not what I was expecting to see, and it's very good. He's very good at it.
Doesn't it paint a different picture? And you saw it backwards. Like I saw it
right
the other way around.
Right.
So I saw him. So he was on Smallville first, at least from what I remember. Like he was in Smallville as Aquaman, which perfect. Like he was a lot younger then. Perfect Aquaman, blonde. Like he looked like Aquaman, and he was only in like probably like a couple episodes. I don't even remember. But then I know him best as Thad Castle in Blue Mountain State. See, I don't normally remember like characters' names from the shows.
Right.
There's very few that I know, but I'll remember Thad Castle. He was so funny in that as like the captain. He's like the defensive, like a linebacker on the defense, and he's like the captain of the team. And he's just great. Like if you've never seen this show, you'll run through this show in like a week. Like it's great. Like
it's worth the watch just for him.
Right, 100%. And then the cast of characters, and some people leave, other people come in, and like, it's just great. Did you finish the whole 4 seasons?
No, I didn't. But I was definitely a lot more into the first. Was the running back in the first 2 seasons?
Yeah, he was also in Smallville.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget who he was in Smallville, but he was in Smallville.
I liked him also, and so I'm definitely more into the first 2 seasons than I am with the quarterback. Yeah, um, I like that combo better, but it's worth it just to watch him.
Yeah, 100%. Him and Alex Moran.
Yeah,
they're great.
He's very good too. Yeah,
yeah, and he's like on like some soap opera show now or something like that on like
oh
daytime.
really?
Yeah, I happened to see him one time. I don't even know why. Just flipping through channels or whatever on like a vacation or whatever, and I saw him. I'm like, oh my god, that's Alex Moran, and he's like the epitome of like a college kid that doesn't want to do anything, right? Like
yeah.
Like, just like, I want to be a backup quarterback.
Right.
I get to do nothing, and I get to have all the fun. Like
lifetime college student.
yeah, and like wants to be like a gym teacher and like whatever he wants to do. It's freaking hilarious. So I'm glad we got to talk about that finally. I really wish the Wanderer watched that show so we could talk about it again. But yeah. So are you watching anything else right now?
No, I haven't.
You're still finishing that.
Yeah, and just watching Monarch still, which is week to week.
Oh, there's still. Oh, I thought there was only 8 episodes. I guess there's 10.
I'm not.
No,
sure.
You're right. I think there's 10 because I started watching Monarch on your request.
Okay.
And you know what? I kind of disagree with the Wanderer on this one because the Wanderer was like, he's like, just watch and let me know what you think. Like he wasn't too keen on it, but I'm like 4 episodes in, but I didn't finish the fourth, so I'm like halfway through the fourth today, and it's kind of like what I thought. Like there's not a lot of the monsters. It's a couple, like it's a minute here, a minute there out of the episode, but the episodes are entertaining because there are flashbacks, but then there are 2 different time periods of the show. There's from like 1953 to 5 or 6, whatever. So far, I think the most was 55. It's like 53 to 55, and then you have like 2014 to 15 or 16. And what's cool about it is Kurt Russell, his younger self, is his actual son.
I didn't know that.
That's his son.
Wow, I didn't know that.
At first, I didn't know how they were going to do that, but then I started watching the show, and I'm like, after the first episode, you put it together. If you know that, you're like, oh, so that's Kurt Russell now,
right?
In 2015 or whatever, and his son is actually playing him in 1955. So it's kind of cool. Like that's something cool to do. Like, and your son's in there, so that's cool. Like in itself, if you like that sort of thing, I happen to like that. And I'm a Kurt Russell fan. Like who doesn't like Kurt Russell? He does good stuff.
But it's good. It's
but it's not bad. Yeah.
Listen, that's not typically my my type of scene, but I think it's very good.
Like I already saw Godzilla. I want to say 3 times in 2 episodes, which is good.
Yeah.
And then you saw you saw a dragon in 1 episode. I think it was the same episode too. And then the third one, you saw that ice monster thing that like freezes you almost instantly. Which I thought that was crazy.
Right. And it's done well. It's not like cheesy. It's not like, the CGI is not terrible like it could be. It's actually done
well. That's why
well.
They're almost like placing it for like a minute at a time in an episode. So like you get the little bit of action with the monster, and then that's it. That's where they spent all the money on the episode. You know what I mean? And then you have all these other actors that probably aren't getting paid much. Besides Kurt Russell and his son, that nobody else is getting paid. There's no other big name actors in that. So it's all CGI for that minute or 2 in the episode, and that's it, which is good. Like I'm up to where I am right now. I'm happy with the show. Like it's not the greatest show, but it's an enjoyable show to watch. And they give you just enough of the monsters, and they even throw different types, which is cool because that's what they do in the movies. Like you had Mothra, Rodan, and Gamora, and Ghidra, whatever.
I like the way they end every episode. Like every episode ends just right.
Yeah. They leave you almost on a semi cliffhanger.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's done well. So I've been enjoying it.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I'm surprised Wonder doesn't like it, but to each his own. It's all good with that kind of stuff. And I think the other show I just finished today was, are you watching The Continental?
No, you keep saying it, but I haven't started it.
I saw the ending of it today, the last half hour, because they're like basically movies. There's 3 episodes. It's almost like 3 movies all together. And I think the way they did that was perfect because, like, and it sucks. Like, if you watch it at home, you could definitely get through an episode a night and be done with it. No problem. It's an hour and a half. I think the longest one is an hour and 37 minutes. I normally watch these things when I'm like working out on the elliptical or whatever, so I have to chop it up a little bit. But I'd rather them do 3 episodes like that than make it 10 episodes of 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It just seemed like it went quicker for me. It didn't take long at all, and it was really good. And it gave you the backstory of not even the Continental, so to speak. It gave you the backstory of the guy Winston that was John Wick's, like, if you want to call him friend or confidant or whatever. It shows you how he took over the Continental, which the ending was dope, like
Wow.
what he did. So I'm not going to ruin it. I've been told from some of the fans out there that I ruined some of the shows. Not my problem if you're not keeping up with the shows and you're taking forever to watch.
So
30
now
to
is
40
this
minute
going to be
shows.
just a one-time thing, or is it going to be?
I don't know. Like, I guess it really depends on them to see how many views it got. Like, it's like way before John Wick.
So there's still plenty of.
There's like almost like 40 years, if not 30 to 40 years of gap in that time frame. So you could have that, and then without ruining spoilers, there could be another 2 or 3 stories of that, before John Wick comes into the fold. And Keanu Reeves, like, even if you had like a story or two almost present day before John Wick like movies start, could I see Keanu Reeves being in a couple of those episodes? Yeah, absolutely. Because this one was written great, like the way everything said, and it was very simple. Like, it was gangster mentality. Like, you don't have to think too much. It's just A to B to C, done. It's over. You know what I mean? Which I really liked. And you could always have it in the background while you're doing other things, which is great. The action was phenomenal. Like, it was great. A lot of different characters. But yeah, that's all I got right now. Hopefully, I get to start that show, Tomboy. No, Top Boy.
Top Boy.
Yeah, is that something that has subtitles?
I mean, like anything else, I'm sure you could put them on if you wanted to.
No, I don't want to. Does it speak English?
Yes,
Okay.
they speak English, but they speak in what I don't know what they call it. A lot of times, patois, the like Jamaican.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Because the only problem I'm having with Monarch is when they speak Japanese or whatever it is. It's Japanese, right? Korean.
Yeah.
Because if I'm on the elliptical and it's not close enough, they speak so fast that the subtitles go so fast, like I can't get every word because they don't keep it up long enough. Like, they should keep it up just a little bit longer. But I get the gist of it, whatever. But that's why I was like, if it's one of those shows I have to sit here and watch to pay attention, I'll do that, But yeah, anything else? You got anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, that's going to be it, folks. That's going to wrap up episode 37.
No music.
No music this week. Wander didn't leave us anything, and probably if he did, I wouldn't know how to say it or pronounce it or what's going on with it anyway. So maybe next week he'll have 6 songs for you guys. I don't know. But I should say we wish him the best.
Yes, feel better, Wanderer.
Hopefully he gets healthy soon so we can see him next week. We may have a show on New Year's Day. We don't know yet. We'll figure it out. If not, it'll be the next day. And
all depending on if boy Paulie Lim is having a New Year's Eve party.
Right. Yeah, basically if he has a party, we'll be there, and
no pressure.
Won't wake up.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Not that you watch this anyway or support it in any other way. So we're just going to talk shit about you anyway. And I'm going to bring everyone from the neighborhood to your house anyway, regardless. So have some food ready, or at least pizzas. Get ready for it because we're coming over New Year's Eve because I'm going to be off Monday. So whatever. With that being said, everyone have a happy New Year. And yeah, we'll pretty much see you hopefully in the new year.
Yeah, see you next year.
All right, folks. That's all we got. Later.
Take care.
Peace out.